Hi there, it's just another day. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about store closings that are happening. The more and more as this inflation over the past several years starts really affecting consumers, it's also affecting the stores where people shop. They've had to increase prices over the past several years. A big part of that is when they had all the fuel prices went up pretty substantially. And so that affects transportation costs and delivery. There are a lot of factors, but inflation really cranked up over the past several years. So a lot of the stores that we've known for years and have relied on are closing either multiple locations or just going under altogether. So some of the stores, one of which kind of hit home was Eddie Bauer. Some people say, Eddie Bauer, big deal. Not a big fan of that store, but it was typically a great place for us to go during Christmas and get gifts for family. I like LL Bean, but they don't have the sales that Eddie Bauer does, and typically they've had some quality stuff at Eddie Bauer, and especially for cold weather, it's a store with great stuff. I've always thought for a long time they're pretty proud of their stuff. They're especially their winter coats and everything, super expensive. If I was going to get a really nice winter coat, it would be more like Columbia or North Face. But there are a lot of people that like the Eddie Bauer brand, or forget their high end. They have like a high end brand that they charge even higher prices. But you could always count on Eddie Bauer during the holidays. You'd go in and like everything's like 50 or 60% off. And so, one of the reasons is it's typically in the mall. Eddie Bauer is closing nearly all of its 200 brick-and-mortar stores in U.S. and Canada. So they have a Chapter 11 that they're closing down. So they say it's because of declining sales, high inflation, and consumer preference. And so I guess they're not getting enough customers to come in when there are a lot of other choices. Like I said, I'm not buying an Eddie Bauer jacket, even though I have an Eddie Bauer jacket. I say that. I have one of these puffer jackets, but it was one that I guess they just had overstock and they sold them through Sam's. And I mean, it was a stupid price. It was like, I think it was like $25, $30 for one of these puffer jackets. It's one of the lightweight ones. And it's really warm. I took it with me on a trip to Las Vegas because the temperatures were going to be cold at night. And it's one of those packable ones, so it takes up very little space. And it was a great jacket for what it was. And I keep it in my car kind of as a spare if we're out and I don't have a jacket with me and maybe it gets cold or I didn't wear a warm enough jacket or something. So it's really just kind of a throwaway jacket. It's not like an everyday one. But yeah, I wasn't going to spend $200, $300 for one of these, whatever the equivalent was in the stores in Eddie Bauer. So I think a lot of consumers were starting to feel that way based on the declining sales. So they're shutting down all of their brick and mortar. So I guess at this point it's just going to be a web-based store. And I actually did buy some things through their online store this past Christmas because they didn't have the size I needed in the store. And they're like, "Oh, we can order it for you." I'm like, "I'll order it from home." And so that's what I did. So. But how do you shop for stuff like that? Like I like to be able to pick it up and hold it, look at it, feel how it's made. I'm not sure I'll do the same thing with buying anything online. And one of the issues I've always had is, you go into a store, you can kind of walk around, you don't have an idea what you want, so you can kind of stumble onto something like, oh, that might be a good option. The problem with online shopping, to me, is it's kind of overwhelming. If I don't know what I'm looking for, I'm just looking at pictures, and it's just not the same as being there, being able to hold it in my hands And there's so many gifts I bought over the years for family where you know, I just wander around a store and see what they have, and oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. I just never had that experience with Amazon or, you know, Eddie Bauer for that matter, LL Bean, and I love LL Bean. They're pretty high priced. They're definitely a quality item every time you buy something, but it's you know, typically I'm not going that route. Another store that's closing a lot of stores is Wendy's. Wendy's is one of those places that, you know, we all grew up with, and it was always great food. We still stop there occasionally if we're on a road trip and we need something. We don't want McDonald's. I can't even remember the last time we ate at McDonald's. It's just not been good the last couple times I've eaten there. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since we actually stopped at McDonald's, and I regretted it every time since. After I get a cheeseburger or something, it's just not good. But Wendy's is closing 300 to 600 restaurants, which is about 5 to 6% that they're looking to close after a 5.6 decline in some store sales. The Wendy's locations we have near us, every time we go by, there's really no car in the parking lot. There might be a couple in the drive-through. Maybe there's a car or two in the parking lot, but it's always empty. And you know, then you go by somewhere like Chick-fil-A and they are slammed constantly. It's just a constant stream of cars through the drive-through, a lot of cars in the parking lot. What do you smell, Z? So, you know, when you come, just by looking at the traffic, you can tell which ones are doing well, which ones aren't so well. So Wendy's is looking to close some. Another one is Steak and Shake. I had never heard of them until in the 90s. I was in Cincinnati and looking for something to eat and saw a Steak and Shake. Okay, that looks interesting. And it was good. I mean, it wasn't earth-shattering, but I was like, oh, this is pretty good. When we actually got a location near us, I was like, oh, this is great. And we went, and again, you know, it was okay. It wasn't amazing. But so they closed 200 locations since 2018 due to pandemic financial hits and shifting towards franchising. So they're shutting down their stores that they own, and they're going to start looking more at letting people run it and take more of a hit themselves through franchising. Another one is Big Lots. They're closing 200 to 400 locations. I'm sorry, they're closing stores, but there's a deal in place that 200 to 400 locations may be taken over by variety wholesalers. I've never heard of them, so I guess they're pretty similar to Big Lots. You know, there's all kinds of stores that take like Marshalls and Ross and things like that, take overstock that they just can't do anything with. So Big Lots is more like, you know, actual furniture and other types of goods. So I guess Variety Wholesale is just similar. And then they're going to close other stores that are still low performing, and they'll just liquidate those. So Big Lots near us, a couple of them have closed. And we'd go to Big Lots occasionally, you know, just get little stocking stuffers or different things that we bought furniture from their furniture store years ago. We just needed a couple basic couches and a recliner for a family room, and you know, they've lasted for a long time, longer than other stores' furniture that we bought that was really more high end. And so, you know, kind of sad to see it go. It wasn't something like we go to all the time, but one of those stores that was nice to have when you're looking. Another one is Red Lobster. They've closed over 129 stores over 2 years, leaving over 500 remaining. But they are still reevaluating, you know, what footprint they want. They may close some more stores. So Red Lobster is another one that's been having trouble. And a lot of the issue with a lot of these stores are higher prices that people just don't want to pay right now. You know, Big Lots is kind of the outlier, but you know, fast food's getting expensive. And if it was already kind of a 4th or 5th place or 6th place in, you know, the burger wars, those are the first to go. Office Max, they closed 1,200 stores since 2013 when they merged with Office Depot. And I kind of get that. There's no reason to have two of those same type of stores. But that's another one, you know, you always had a choice between the two. And well, really with Staples as a third. So you could always kind of shop around and see what the best deal was. And, you know, Office Max is gone. Lastly, Walgreens. I don't know if you've been noticing this. They've closed 1,200 stores since 2017. That to me has been wild because I have personally seen some of these Walgreens stores where they built a store where nothing was before. And that store I thought was doing pretty well. And then all of a sudden, they're gone. It's like really no news. It's just the store is gone. Nobody inside. I've seen them change into other things like Dollar Tree, you know. But that I've always wondered. It's like you've got a CVS or a Rite Aid or something, and right across the street they'll put a Walgreens, which never made sense. It's like why do you put a location right across the street from an established pharmacy location? And so I think Walgreens has paid the price. Again, it's consumer choice, and so they are experiencing that. At any rate, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what your thoughts are. I hope you have a great day. See you in the next one.